Well, for more details on this story, we are joined live by Helit Barel, who is the former director of the Israeli National Security Council. Thank you so much for joining us, Helit. Well, you are joining us from Tel Aviv, so you are in the thick of things there. Now, if you could just tell us, do you think this is going to affect Israel's offensive there? Do you think they will be able to carry on the operation and secure security and amid the hostages killings here?
Well, there's no doubt that the incidence of the hostage killing is a tremendous tragedy for us here, especially because the main reason why those soldiers are fighting so fiercely in such difficult conditions and have been for very long, as they express themselves, is to bring back hostages. So this is definitely a very tragic situation. Having said that, I don't think this will put an end to the campaign. There are two main goals to this campaign. The first is to return our hostages. The second is to eradicate or extremely degrade Hamas's ability to fight and completely to govern the Gaza Strip. And both of those need to be achieved one way or another. So while there's no real deal on the table to return the hostages in any other way but fighting, certainly I don't see this campaign receding. And we'll have to see if there are any other developments. But there will be a stronger push here within Israel to try and initiate something to return the hostages, which already has been on way, but now with the terrible incident, it obviously will grow stronger.
Right. You do speak of the campaign not changing at all, but do you think that the IDF will, however, change its strategy in its war against Hamas?
Yeah, no, I don't think the campaign is not going to change at all. I think certainly the only way to win such a campaign is to keep changing it and adjusting the way you fight to the goals. So I think there are various ways that I'm not going to elaborate in which this campaign can change face and be more intense and less intense and address it from various facets of warfare. And we've seen that Israel knows how to stop the campaign for a ceasefire that allows the exit of the hostages and then continuing out with the same force, which I think also Sinwar wasn't banking on. So I do think it will have to be dynamic in the form of war. We're already seeing it because down south in Khan Yunis, there's a very different kind of warfare than was taken up north in Gaza City. So we're already seeing different kind of fighting. This is why you're seeing also more casualties on the Israeli side of the time, because this is now a more precise and careful form. These areas are more populated, and so obviously the campaign changes all the time.
Helit, you do know that the pressure is mounting on Israel to ease the civilian impact, but do you think enough is being done in that department? We know that the death toll keeps rising. Is the collective punishment as we're seeing, is it justified?
We're not seeing collective punishment. What we are seeing is Israel defending its vital national security interests. Here's a piece of advice. Don't come into our homes, butcher our babies, burn entire families, gang rape women, and then you wouldn't be in this situation to begin with. And I say this because we have also seen a devastating poll by Khalil Shkaki, who's the leading pollist in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank, that shows 95% of the Palestinians who answered this poll in the West Bank claim there were no crimes, no war crimes conducted on October 7th. 81% of them are happy with the leadership of Yahya Sinwar. So this is not about retribution. This is about security. As a person who lives in Israel, who was born in Israel, I would not take the chance of having this ever happen again. And so Israel is defending its security. Now, it is very tragic, the kind of casualties that we are seeing on that side. One of the main reasons is that Hamas is intentionally endangering citizens, which is what it's always done. Civilians, they're not even citizens. They don't have any rights under Hamas. And it's working for them. Hamas feels that if Palestinians die, innocents die, then they have won. And if Israel stops, then they have won. So they feel for them it's a win-win situation. So this is the kind of conflict that we are engaged in. And yes, there will be mounting pressure, but I think as long as we stand stern with the United States the United Kingdoms and other like-minded countries who understand what terrorism is and what the right to survive is, then we will achieve these goals. On the other hand, I am absolutely supportive of increasing the humanitarian aid entering, and we have opened another crossing from Israel, Kerem Shalom, and I think on that level, we have to do more and more. Mind you, we're not alone in that. So does Egypt, so does the world.
Right. Helit, but we are talking about Israel right now on the show. But do you think that enough is being done to restrain the civilian casualties?
I think whatever can be done is being done to restrain civilian casualties. I don't think it's ever going to be clean and surgical. It never has been in any war. It wasn't in Iraq. It wasn't in Afghanistan. It wasn't in any war. But some wars need to be fought. And again, once you put down the equation and you set it up and you come into our homes and you burn our families alive, there are going to be consequences. You know, I have been interviewing for this channel and many other outlets in India and elsewhere, and I have said from October 8th, this won't be more of the same. Israel went out of Gaza 15 years ago, had contained its response on every attack against us. We have been living here in Tel Aviv, let alone in the south, under missiles and rockets for 15 years. And on October 7th, a line was crossed. And now this is the response. And I don't think that someone can say you don't have the right to defend yourself. With 95% of Palestinians in the West Bank, not even Gaza, thinking that October 7th was a good idea, this is where we're at.
Okay. Helit, now Israel has vowed to free all the hostages and eliminate Hamas, but there have been 2 months on. You think, in your appreciation, how successful has this strategy been?
Well, I can't call the strategy successful until the hostages are back. We have 135 hostages still held in Gaza, so I don't consider that to be a success. Every day is a danger to their lives. So certainly, I would have wished and wanted it to be a far quicker situation. And I hope that there's going to be more success. And we're hearing about new negotiations in Qatar, and Egypt is obviously playing a very constructive role. So hopefully something will move ahead in that sense. In terms of the war fighting, I think it's going along as pretty much as was expected. You mentioned in your comments that Israel had paid a heavy price, and this is very true for us. Every soldier is somebody's son. You know, we have obligatory service. I have a daughter in the military right now. So for us, every one of these losses is an entire world, an entire family. And so it is a very heavy price. But here's the bottom line. We are willing to pay it. They are willing to pay it. So this campaign is a slower campaign than some have expected. But this is what happens when you let 15 years of military buildup and a complete underground metro happen, and you don't address it in time, and you take too much of a lenient overview of the situation, you end up with a very, very sticky situation, especially because Israel is trying so hard to minimize those civilian casualties, which makes it longer and harder. And we're paying a price in soldiers and in blood for taking a more slow approach and trying to be more precise.
Thank you so much, Helit Barel, for speaking so passionately about this particular issue.
Thank you.